Day of surprises, Konoha streets. Kurenai realized what Naruto was about to do, and she screamed. Asuma's cigarette dropped to the ground. Hiyashi was trying to get out of the store as fast as he could. Guy had opened the first 3 gates and was rushing toward the children. But he knew he wouldn't make it in time. The sword swung closer and closer as Naruto held his stance. Clang! The sound of the sword striking metal echoed across the street. Everyone stared in shock. At first the bewildered Jonin thought someone had intercepted the strike. But upon closer inspection, the sword had hit Naruto's exposed forearms. There wasn't a scratch. The man with the sword stared at the boy in fear. His sword had hit the demon boy's skin, but it was like he had hit metal. He struck 3 more times with the same loud noise as if it was a sword fight. Naruto was as shocked as the rest, but with his orange eyes he was picking up every little detail. Such as the fact that the sword could not injure him. He walked on forward slowly while the man's swings became more desperate. On the 4th swing, Naruto caught the blade in his hand and tugged it away from the man. The 3 Jonin and Hiyashi just kept looking on, unable to comprehend what was happening before Naruto grabbed the sword out of the man's hand and held it as his own. Then slight fear struck as they were hit with a wave of killing intent. It wasn't as strong as others, but it was still there. The attacker, although civilian, must have felt it too as he cringed visibly. Then they heard Naruto's voice. "If you ever try anything against me or Hinata-chan again, I'll kill you." The man took this as a warning and ran. After the man left, Hinata was put out of her shock and she touched Naruto, and Hiyashi was put out of his stupor as he realized, along with his other companions, that the wave of killing intent abruptly stopped at Hinata's touch. Then Hinata broke down crying and Naruto embraced her protectively. Maeda Guy shut down his inner gates and followed Hiyashi to the children. Hiyashi was filled with relief that they were both all right. And also, somewhere in the back of his mind, imagining what Kushina would do to him if she met her child in the afterlife early. Kurenai and Asuma were following close behind. "Guy, follow that man, this should be reported to the Hokage," Hiyashi ordered. "Hi, it will be done," Guy replied, for once without his usual cheerful manner. This was serious business. He would ask Kurenai and Asuma what happened later on. And with that, Konoha's green beast dashed after the fleeing civilian. "Kurenai, Asuma, come with me." They both nodded. The trio continued towards the children where Naruto was comforting a crying Hinata. When Naruto saw Hiyashi, he bowed slightly. "I'm sorry, Hiyashi-sama, I have put your daughter in harm's way." If it had been any other circumstance, Hiyashi would have applauded the boy. But this wasn't just anything. Their lives had been put in grave danger and Naruto had displayed a skill still unknown to them. "It wasn't your fault, Naruto. Now follow me, we shall speak in my office." Naruto nodded solemnly and followed Hiyashi with Kurenai and Asuma behind them, discouraging any more would-be attackers. "It's okay, Hinata-chan." Naruto was busy rubbing her back comfortably while Hinata was clinging to him sobbing. But Hw was about to hurt Naruto-kun because of me. Naruto shushed her. "But I didn't get hurt now, did I? Anyways, better me than you any day, you know." But Naruto placed a finger on her lips. "Remember what I said this morning, Hinata-chan? Nobody should hurt you. I promised I wouldn't let them, so calm down now, okay?" Hinata looked into his confident blue eyes and grinned before whimpering, still refusing to let go of Naruto. Behind them, Kurenai nudged Asuma as they both looked at the children. "These two could get interesting," Kurenai said as she smiled. Hyuga compound. Hiyashi took a glance at the 4 individuals who stood horizontally across his desk. He was glad to see that Hinata had gotten over her shock and was standing attentively next to Naruto. He gestured for Kurenai and Asuma to stand to the side of the room so that he could talk face to face with Naruto and his daughter. "Naruto, first of all I would like to thank you for getting my daughter out of danger." Hiyashi started. "Yada. No problem, Hiyashi-sama. I won't let anyone hurt Hinata-chan." Naruto was grinning stupidly at Hiyashi as if nothing had happened. Even though Hiyashi was relieved that the boy seemed happy considering the incident, he realized that Naruto must have been used to this kind of treatment. He felt a pang of guilt, if only he had noticed sooner. He looked at his eldest daughter and noticed a boost in her mood when she noticed Naruto's amusing antics. "Thank you, Naruto," Hiyashi continued, keeping his face stern. "But another matter. What happened out there, Naruto? You displayed fast reflexes and you didn't seem to be affected by the sword." Naruto rubbed the back of his head and thought. "Ito, it might have something to do with the orange eyes." He mumbled. "Huh, Naruto? What orange eyes?" Hiyashi looked at him questioningly. All he had understood from the incoherent mumbling had been, orange eyes. Naruto grinned at him sheepishly. "It's kinda hard to explain, Hiyashi-sama." He stopped when Hinata touched his arm. "Anyo, Naruto-kun, I can explain if you want." Hinata offered, blushing slightly. She felt a little more lightheaded when Naruto's gaze ended up on her. "Okay, Hinata-chan. Hiyashi-sama, Hinata knows what I'm talking about better than I do, you know. She'll explain." Naruto flashed Hinata one of his foxy grins. Hiyashi was starting to realize something else about the orange-clad child. Even though he was always grinning, there seemed to be a specific grin he had for every situation. He then looked to his daughter, who explained Naruto's new predicament as accurately as she could. Hinata left out the fact that Naruto had met with the Kyuubi and the cube and simply stated that the cube had reacted with Naruto. Hiyashi was slightly disappointed when she had no explanation for how he blocked the sword. He then turned to Naruto afterwards. "When did this start?" "Just today, Hiyashi-sama." Naruto replied, seemingly carefree. "So everything slows down when you focus?" Hiyashi questioned. He wanted to try something. Naruto nodded. "Can you focus on me and try to activate it?" "Byakugan." Naruto stared at the clan head as if he was in a staring competition. When he realized that it wasn't working, he imagined Hiyashi as if he was the man with the sword. The orange that filled his vision informed him that the technique had taken place. Hiyashi was surprised. Upon Naruto's activation, he witnessed the new black chakra rush towards the blonde boy's eyes. This set him wondering what had really happened before they found Naruto the day before. What was this black chakra? Hiruzen would need to know about these developments soon. Then the Hyuga clan head noticed something else. On Naruto's shoulders, both new insignias were glowing bright. They had only activated when Naruto used his technique. "Naruto, remove your jacket and your shirt," Hiyashi commanded. He wasn't very surprised when the blonde retaliated. Naruto pointed an accusing finger at Hiyashi. "Hiyashi-sama, why? What has got to do with my eyes?" Naruto yelled back. If he wasn't the clan head, Hiyashi would have ungraciously slammed his head upon the table. Although the blonde was improving, he would lash out with no such respect under certain circumstances. "I just want the others present to see something." "Eh. Scary man, no. That's sick." Naruto screamed back. Asuma chuckled and Kurenai smirked. Hinata, on the other hand, was blushing furiously and had found the floor suddenly very interesting, while Hiyashi was silently cursing himself for his incorrect choice of words. Naruto's eyes were no longer tinted with orange as he yelled at Hinata's father. "Naruto, take it off. It has something to do with your new ability." Hiyashi said this with as much authority as he could muster. At least it had a little effect on the raging blonde. "Fine, whatever you wish, Hiyashi-sama." Naruto grumbled as he took off both his jacket and shirt, clearly not pleased. "Now activate your eyes again." Naruto sighed and went back into his slow-motion world. While in it, he barely heard a shocked gasp from Kurenai. Even though he felt like he couldn't hear in his state, the sounds his ears gathered were still picked up and understood, even though to Naruto, his ears weren't functioning. He looked around in slow motion, wondering what had happened. Then all of a sudden his brain registered someone saying, "shoulder," so he decided to look. Kurenai gasped. When Naruto's technique took place, the new symbols on his shoulders were glowing. No light was being emitted, but both insignias were glowing clearly. The one on his right burned a blood red and the one on his left gave off a blue hue. "Look at his shoulders. Hinata had her eyes averted, she didn't trust herself enough not to faint if she saw Naruto without his shirt. But when she heard Kurenai's surprised gasp she grew curious. Did Naruto look that good? She mentally slapped herself. Kurenai was a grown woman. When she heard the adult say something about Naruto's shoulders, the shy girl risked a quick peek. After she caught sight of the blue glow however, it held her attention. Those marks he told me about from yesterday, but he didn't tell me that they glowed. She thought, as she stared intently at them while Naruto came back to his regular senses. The glowing stopped the moment he did so. Hiyashi-sama. Why were they glowing? Naruto seemed sober now. Confused to say the least. It appears that when you start using your eyes, those signs signal that you are using that power. Now what about your sword blocking ability? Naruto held up his arms and began poking them, watching the skin indent as he applied pressure. I don't know. I just sort of reacted to the situation. Maybe it's because Naruto-kun and I were in danger. Hinata suggested. She quickly looked away when Naruto caught her looking and Kurenai had to stifle a laugh since Hiyashi was deep in thought. So it activates when you are in danger Hiyashi was stroking his chin in thought, his eyes gazing far away. When he spoke, everyone looked at him. Hiyashi activated his Byakugan again. Hiyashi-sama. Naruto had removed his attention from Hinata's blue-black hair and moved on to her father. As if on cue, the clan head suddenly grabbed a hidden kunai hidden underneath his desk and threw it at Naruto with full force, straight for his stomach. To any spectator all they would see was a slight blur of the kunai as it disturbed the air. That was the speed that Hiyashi had thrown it. Through his Byakugan he watched the changes occur in Naruto's body. Naruto was shocked to say the least. The moment he had seen Hiyashi's hand go under the desk, his brain had begun screaming, danger. His instincts then took action as his eye activated and he watched Hiyashi's arm fling the kunai. With all the time in the world, he saw where it was going and carefully considered his options. At that speed again dodging was out of the question. What an unlucky day. Again, he decided to move his arm into harm's way. Only after the kunai rebounded off Naruto's solid arm did Hinata realize what had happened. To-san. She glared angrily at her father. She knew why he had done it, but if it didn't work, what would have happened to Naruto?